Hello there. Today I'm visiting JP Moueix in Saint Emilion at Chateau Belair Monange. So I thought I really ought to take a look at Belair Monange, the property itself. It's a Saint Emilion Grand Cru Classé, and it's an estate that the Moueix family have, since about 2008, have assembled from constituent parts. So in some ways created a new estate. And as you can see behind me, the magnificent winery that's been built here on the coast just behind the town of Saint Emilion. So Bélair-Monange, as I say, located on the coast of Saint Emilion, so with predominantly limestone-based soils and some blue clay over that. And what the limestone does is it gives a lovely freshness to the wine. Now essentially this is a Merlot, but actually there has been 2% of Cabernet Franc added in here. As I say, the wine's an en-primeur sample, so it will have spent about 4 months in barrel so far. The barrel regime here is to use 50% new French oak, so I'd assume the other 50% is second fill barrels, so there should be a reasonable influence of oak in the flavours and aromas here. So let's have a look at the wine, shall we? First of all, the colour is a deep, dark, quite vibrant, ruby colour. It's not quite opaque, I can see through it there. The wine has about 13.5% alcohol, I believe, and is very readily throwing tears on the side of the glass there. So I'm expecting a wine with some decent density here. So let's see what we make of the aroma, shall we? There really is a forward vibrancy to these aromas. There's a red fruit note, there's floral notes, there's a lively red fruits, there are mulberry notes, there's juicy raspberry notes. It's really quite exciting. There are chocolatey hints and touches of cedar behind that coming from the oak. And perhaps an underlying sort of a dark berry jam, maybe dark cherry jamminess. So it's a taste. There's a real vibrancy to the acidity. I mean, there's a good structure here. This feels much lighter than the Pomeranz I've tried alongside it. And there really is this lifted, slightly spicy red fruit, those clean spices, making me think of raspberry, and again, but the lifted nature here really is making me think of mulberry. But then there are those cedary notes. There's an underlying vanilla. This is all beautifully integrated into the fruit. It's not standing out, but almost a gingerbread hint behind the red fruit here. There is quite a firm structure. There are some relatively dense tannins here, and there's a smoothness, a sort of a graphite note, just its silkiness, and perhaps just a little velvety and grainy structure. And where I've got that interaction with those fine tannins and the good acidity, there's quite a mouth-watering note. And where that's quite typical for the 2024 wines, you've got quite a structured finish with fine, but not aggressive, not astringent tannins, overlaid by these beautiful perfumes. So giving quite a long, elegant, fresh, really quite juicy, mouth-watering finish. The wine is fresh and it's elegant. It's probably not the example of Bélair-Monange that you're going to want to age for 20, 30, 40 years. I suspect this will quickly be very drinkable, and drinking it over a period of 10 to 20 years will give plenty of enjoyment. Frankly, I do wonder if perhaps we obsess a bit too much about our wine's concentration and density. This wine has ripe tannins and fresh acidity. It will age for a period that should be long enough to satisfy most of us. So maybe not a wine you're looking at if you're wanting to invest in wines to make a financial return. Possibly a wine that if you're a consumer who likes this style of wine, you might want to think about. Obviously that's dependent on price, so I'll leave a link in the notes below to the Wine Searcher webpage for this vintage of this wine, so that you can see when it's released, who has it, at what price. And you can see some of the other details we have there about winemaking, price history and the like. And you can make an informed decision as to whether you think this is a good wine. Thank you for joining me in the tasting. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, do please press the like button. If you'd like to watch more of these tastings, it'd be great if you'd sign up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you can also set yourself an alert. You can be notified every time we publish a new tasting. If you have friends you think might like to watch the video, please pass it on to them. That would be great. If you have any comments, do pop them in the comments box below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about the wines we're looking at, the tastings we're doing, or anything else that relates to it. I've got more wines to taste from JP Moueix. and I will be publishing other tasting notes from this en-primeur campaign. So do please join me on this journey and come and see what I'm making for 2024 vintage en-primeur wines. Bye for now.